Hey everybody, my name's Thorns, and you're here with the Hack Forums News Team podcast for edition 429, podcast number 3 this week. I'm just by myself, but I also have a guest and the owner of Dawn, great member on HF, been contributing for a while, my personal friend, previous writer, and that's Night Fury.
Hi, Thorns. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate talking to you. So I'm just gonna go over the site news for the week. We have the Double Bites weekend. It is now over at the time that I'm recording the podcast, but I believe it started the 15th. It was the 15th to the 17th. We got Double Bites on HF. We basically every post, if you were upgraded, was worth 6 bytes. Every thread was 8 or 12 or something. I don't remember specifically, and it really rewarded you for posting on HF. There's a lot more activity, a lot more bytes. I personally got about 500, 600 bytes from just posting. Really entertained me. Some of the fucking threads that just came out of the LQP for fucking bytes is hilarious. What'd you think?
Man, I think the bytes is actually end up being a pretty interesting system, um, because before, I never was really into the whole idea behind it because there's like gambling, and it just kind of seemed like some way to create some extra currency, something extra you can buy. Can you buy them? Is that correct? Or you have to earn them through
Well, you earn them through posts, but then
through posts?
you can buy them from other members. So,
Yeah, yeah. The thing at first I was skeptical of it, but I actually recently found out. I was like, okay, so maybe if there's like a member that I've already given him reputation, or I guess popularity, what if we call it now. But if I've done that and I'm still thankful for something he's done beyond that, a simple thank you often works. But in this case, for example, I was able to give the member 500 bytes just because he opened up a thread for Dawn for a pen testing help desk. And so that right there, I was like, you know what, this is something that'll be my first transaction. Send him some bytes. I was like, I got these things laying around. I don't do anything else with them. So they serve a purpose for sure.
yeah, I enjoy donating them back to the members because I think it's a good way to get it like flowing through the community. A good way to get somebody active and reward somebody, like you said. It's a good reward system. I
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I like giving Infamous members bites. I gave Don like 100 the other day so he could gamble because he's fucking addicted. But no, I mean, yeah, it's a good system. Double Bite Weekend was really cool. Omni did a great job of implementing it. He he made it really enjoyable. The only thing I don't like about Bytes, the whole Byte system, is there's a lot of people that post just for the Bytes, and you can see like there's multiple people within the groups that I'm in that I've gotten onto and been like, dude, I can see you didn't even fucking read the thread. You're just posting here for the Bytes and for the activity, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And
How many
it's
bytes is it per post?
it's two now.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 bytes
So it
per
was four. It
post.
was four this past weekend. You're
No, it was
saying?
six this weekend. I
Oh, it was
think
six. Okay.
six. Yeah. Yeah, which is crazy if you think about it. But I'm pretty sure it's two, yeah.
I
But
think
there,
it's also a good way too. If like, actually, the thing is, I know so little about crews.
yeah,
They've kind of sprung up as an alternative. I think it's a great way for people that don't have access to a lot of money, which groups usually require. They can, through hard work, I guess just by participating in the community, they can actually somehow obtain a crew, or to either have a temporary one, or I think a permanent one if you pay a certain amount. So I think it's a great way just to further kind of allow accessibility to people on the site.
yeah. Like, I'm a fan of crews. I'm really interested to see what Zerotic's going to do with the whole crew and the PvP aspect that's going to be added to the game. Which I don't know if you heard that on the first podcast we did, which was with him, but he said that they're adding a PvP to the game so
Oh,
that
interesting.
the various crews can try to hack into each other and things like that. Like as in not actually hack into each other. HF doesn't condone that sort of. I don't know.
For sure.
I don't know what the fuck it is anymore. But hack into each other within the game is what I'm trying to say.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean that's cool. I actually have zero experience with them, but I'd love to just be added to them to see. I'm not sure. Do they have a sub form? How exactly do they work?
It's just a user bar and a vault. So
A vault. Okay.
yeah, I was in the so right now I'm in the infamous one. I'm before I was in Zerotic's personal one, And yeah, it's just a user bar, a vault, and then like I guess there's like tiers and like the crew profile and things like that.
But
But
what's in the vault? Like posts?
no, there's the bytes. You can donate your bytes into the vault.
Okay.
For example, Zerotic has I think like 1.3 million in
Oh
his
wow.
vault. Let me look.
Uh-huh.
Let me check real quick. Yeah, 1.2 mil in his vault.
So where's the group element then of this? You guys, there's no private subform. You're saying there's a vault, so you get a
Yeah,
user bar.
yeah, you get
So
it.
basically,
Yeah,
it's you basically just get a user bar.
yeah, you get a user bar, and then the more that Zerotic develops the game, the more you'll see crews used, I guess. So
Uh huh.
it'll have a purpose on the forum, but
Uh huh.
not as a group, but as more so game oriented. I'm assuming.
Oh, okay. I think I'm seeing what they are now.
Yeah, it's like
And
it's a tool to enhance your game experience on hack forums.
oh, sure. Okay. So then that's why too you can have. I think I've seen some system where like you can have be displaying your crew user bar, and then if you click on someone's profile, you can see their group user bar.
Yeah,
It's like you can switch them up and just show different things. And I think you can like I think I've seen like you can benefit from like a special font if you're in a group that has a special font color, but then you
hmm
can also be displaying your crew in your posts.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That is,
cool.
yeah, that's correct. All right, well that's for the double bites weekend. Just a simple thing. I don't really have anything to say about this. I don't know if you do, but Omni dropped the price of root from $50 to $40. Um,
Oh, I think that's. I mean, I think anything like that just to bring more members into the community, make it that much more accessible. I mean, because to some people, $40 is a lot. I think, especially too when I've talked to people that have been in some European countries, you know, I've heard that the average income is like $500
yeah,
a month, and so for something like that, that's a huge. In that case, it's 10% of their income for that month. So that's
yeah,
one of those things that's pretty huge. So I mean, at least by lowering it that much, I think people are just it's just that much more accessible, and it'll be good. I think it'll be good for the community.
yeah. It's a good group. Um, it also got a new color, which is some like lime green color. I'm
That's right.
not a big fan of the color, to be honest, but
Yeah. Now we're separated into factions. Got the Uber Blues
yeah,
and the Root Greens.
yeah. I mean, it's not a bad color, but it's just I don't know. It kind of pops a lot. I like the dark theme of HF. Like there's not really a lot of things that just like pop at your eyes when you look at it. So
Yeah.
I like the lime green though.
It's definitely made the form with the change now, where now it displays the color of everyone's username like in threads. It's
Yeah,
definitely provided a huge kind of just collection of colors that just thrown at you. As before, it was always pretty simple with hack
yeah,
formats. It was you'd have your just the username, you'd have the stars rating for your thread, and then just like last post, and that was it. It's pretty simple. And or you'd have maybe like the color. It's like this is like a hot thread, or this is just like a new thread. But now it's like I think it's one of those things. At first, that this is just a color overload. There's too many colors going on, but I mean, I've adjusted to it now.
yeah. You get used to it. I mean, it's always like
Yeah,
that in HF. There's a lot of changes, and at first you think they're bad changes, but then you kind of get used to it, and then it's
yeah,
then you realize Omni's purpose and reasoning for what he did.
yeah.
Speaking of that, thread ratings have been removed. Um, I I don't know. I think I'm not personally for it, but like I just said, a lot of things on HF you get used to, and it's not really that big of a deal. I like the stars. I liked reading the 5 stars. Omni gave me a little shit because I posted on his thread and I said I personally liked reading the half or the 1 starred threads more than the 5 starred threads because
Yeah.
let me elaborate here. 5 star threads are pretty easy to find. Okay, you can find a 5 star thread anywhere. You can find a 5 star thread like in the market and things like that very easily. 1 star threads
For sure.
were rare, man. Because
They
if you
were.
if you had a 1 star thread, your shit was awful. Like you were fucking up somewhere.
Uh huh.
And so I
Or you pissed off the wrong people.
Yeah, and so I always like to go read and kind of get the story behind that. But man, thread ratings were good in the end. Made the threads look a little better in my opinion. But if Omni thinks it's time to go because people are bitching about it, it's you gotta go, man. What do you think
It's
about
something
it?
it's something where people should just, I think, be used to it. I mean, almost everything has a rating to it attached. I think Netflix, you have ratings. YouTube, you have thumbs up, thumbs down. Amazon, you have stars. Um, People like the idea of knowing if something is quality, or it's not always a definitive indicator if something is quality, but it does kind of give an idea. So, like for example, when you're saying those 1-star threads, maybe someone just posted something just completely awful, and a 5-star thread, maybe someone just completely just hit it out of the park. It's an awesome thread, great ideas. Now, a 3-star thread, those are the ones that I really like
Oh
because it
yeah,
means it
yeah.
means that there was an argument going on, and there was two competing sides. It must have been so heated that one side is 5-star, the other side's 1-starring. It's a war almost of sorts. So, for example, you'd see when there used to be a user on the forum, which unfortunately I think the user was closed. It was communist, named Albi. I think his most recent name was NVKD or something. But regardless of how absurd his views were, if you'd see a thread with 3 stars or something like that, you'd know it'd be like a capitalism versus socialism type thread, and something you'd want to at least just read and see what's going on, and,
Yeah.
and see how people respond, go back and forth. And there's a decent amount of flaming and all that stuff, but I thought it made for a nice addition to the forum. So for it to go away, I was a little disappointed, because now everything's just kind of just it's all bland in that sense. I guess now that you assume based on someone's name before clicking a thread if the thread's quality or not.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's definitely it was an interesting feature, man. I enjoyed it. Like you said, the 3-star threads were good too, man. Because you can find some funny ass shit on some 3-star or 1-star threads, man.
For
But
sure.
I think that's just the half a troll, like Omni said to me that I
Yeah.
am. And then I messaged him. I was like, "Well, if I'm half a troll, what's the other half of me?" And he sent me back a one-word PM that just said "brony."
Brony. You
So
are a brony.
yeah, Omni, I don't know if you listen to this shit, but if you do, I just want to contribute, man. I want to be a good member, man. No, that was funny though. That gave me a good laugh. But yeah,
You're a well behaved and nice brony.
yeah, I don't bite anymore. But yeah, I'd like to see thread ratings make a comeback in sometime in the future.
For sure. I think especially too, I think there was actually a point. There was one during one thread. I really loved Omni's comment to somebody. So someone complained about getting a negative reputation for an unfounded reason, and it was so the rules. So people of course start flaming this person for that, and then Omni comes in and says, this is hack forums. This isn't fair and equal forums. The reputation stands. We're done. I'm closing this thread. And I like that attitude where he kind of just said, he's like, you got to deal with it, because that's the reality of situations. In a lot of cases, you just have to deal with it. I know if someone negged me, I'm just like, well, there it happened. Okay, cool. It's like, whatever, you got to just roll with the punches.
I'll tell you what, man. Omni prepares you for real life experiences.
He does.
He does, yeah. He's like all of our um, not father-in-law, but what's it called when you get like baptized and you have
Godfather.
Godfather. Yeah, he's like all of our godfathers. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like he's not here 100% of the time, but when you fuck up, he's here to set you on the right path.
Yeah. Mini daddy.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of the right path or the wrong path, removal of Rect. Man, Omni. Love you, brother. Been here for 6 years. I don't like this shit. I worked for Rect hard, man. Like I wanted that shit when it first came out. I got my 1,000 rep. I got my 1,000 post. I got my whatever the month online time or a year registered or some shit, whatever it was. I got that done. I even doubled it. I went 2,000 rep, 2 years
Mm-hmm.
online time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2,000 posts. Like I enjoyed having Wrecked. I felt like I deserved it because I was active on the forums and I contributed, and I feel like like I said, I earned it. It felt good to see the user bar on my profile. And then another big thing is in 2019, a lot of the members that had Rec before are no longer here. So I think there was like 15 of us that I really saw active on the forum with the user group. So it felt good to
Yeah.
be in that kind of exclusive group.
Yeah, it was
And
legacy group. If I remember correctly, I think it was 1,000 days your
oh
account age,
yeah,
at least a
yeah,
thousand
yeah,
days, 1,000 posts, 1,000 reputation. And I remember too when it came out, I was short. I was like at 800 rep or something like that, and so I was like, I'm not sure if I'll get it. But I happened to get my rep to like 1024 or something. So I just passed over the line. I got it, and mission accomplished. He gave it to me, and it was fun having it. I think even though now reputation, he's distanced himself so far from that. Like I mean,
yeah.
the canned messages and stuff like that, which I don't. I think that even takes me a little bit of personality as well. I
Oh, I
loved
hate
that,
that shit.
that each message before that was, I mean, it was the genuine words, hopefully, of somebody just commenting about your character, and it became this thing where it's just now it's you pick from a list. And so I know, like for me, I've just said, well, you know what, it's all impersonal. So
Yeah,
for every rep that I've given, I think every rep is just says thank you, have a nice day.
yeah.
That's it. Because I was like, what else can I do? I
There's
can't really actually write my feelings.
there's nothing funnier than going through people's negs.
Oh,
Like
they were so funny.
just spending time and going through people's fucking negs, dude. That was the funniest shit. Like I would go
Yeah,
back and read my own negs sometimes. Like, I remember
yeah.
I had a neg 5 from Judge Dredd because I said what he did to Infamous was wrong and that he's a dickhead, and he neg 5'd me for it, and it was like the bigger you become, the more you hate. And I'm like, bro, you're a fucking admin on hack forums. How big have you become? Like, I used to laugh at that every fucking day, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. It was something where, for your own positives, I think those are for your own enjoyment, the personal enjoyment. You could read through and be like, oh, that was nice. This person said this about my character. That's pretty cool. But then for the entertainment of others, you could say, oh, let me click on their profile. Let's see what the negs say, and then you'd see some funny shit,
There
or
was
like just
some
shit that just to
funny
just
shit.
like I remember one person that used to put for everybody he negged. He's like, I dislike your thought pocket. And I was like, and then people are like, why the hell do you dislike my thought pocket, man? Like it was just like just random shit like that though. It's like this is cool, and those are the members that actually usually positive repped. Do you remember there was Exiled? He would put Kaboom on a bunch of people's
Yeah,
profiles.
yeah. I
Yeah,
remember. I
like
remember.
especially.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
I remember Devour. He got like the cool award because he finished a song in plus threes and
Oh,
rep
cool.
Given. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Can you send me a link to that? So they finished his song in plus
Yeah,
threes.
he got it's no well reputation got reset, so there's no longer
Oh, you're
any
saying so like all the lyrics were, if you looked at his given, you'd see the lyrics to his song.
yeah,
Oh, that's really cool.
yeah.
Hopefully there's a screenshot of that somewhere.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Devour in years. Hopefully, Devour, if you're still in HF, hopefully you're doing good, brother. But yeah, I like the custom rep, dude, because there used to be negs on my profile with pictures of me when I was like 13, and I would just laugh. There was like some funny ass shit because I had 2,000 positive rep, but I had like 400 negative rep too.
Oh, sure.
So
It was. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
it was interesting to see like I always like going through people's negs because you don't really learn a lot by positive rep, but you learned a lot by their negs. You learned who didn't like
Yeah.
him and things like that.
It was actually when you're speaking of Mac, I remember that just you could see how he transitioned as a member over time. Because if you look back, he used to have like 60 negs, and like he still like at 1,000 plus rep, but like during like I think it was from like 2011 to 2014 or something like that, he was kind of maybe just like a trolling member, and then he changed his attitude, and so like from then on, you saw like this transformation of people stop negging him, and it was all just a bunch of positives. So
Who
it was cool. It was cool to see like people go through phases too,
who'd you
and you'd
say?
see that. Oh,
Sorry.
Machiavelli the Don.
Oh, are you Don?
Yeah, Don. Yeah,
It's my boy.
yeah, yeah. He had a nice set of nags. He had a pretty good amount, and but then you just notice all of a sudden, oh, then he just decided one day, I think, to say be high quality, kind of like I think actually a lot of people. I think some people they'll start high quality and then go LQ, and then there's some that are LQ they'll go HQ.
Oh yeah, you're speaking to the devil, brother.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Now HQ. You're
Yeah,
working your way there.
sadly.
Half troll still.
Yeah, have to. I kind of miss the dude. I'm not gonna. I kind of miss the fun days, man. Like I don't know. It's fun being a nice guy on HF, and that's it's who I am now, truly. But there's sometimes I just look at some members and it's just like, man, if this was 3 years ago, I would chew your ass out for some of the shit you say, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's not me no more. It's not my place. I'm sure they'll get it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it's you got to make changes in life, and if you're on hack forums, and it's a part of your life, so you make changes there too.
Well, the one constant is change in life, just in general. So I mean, some of these things too. But I think it does. The site does create great memories, great things to look back on. Um, and then if you have relationships that are either ongoing or previous relationships, you can still look at those and say, that was an interesting one. And that's something that I really enjoyed. Is every person I've formed a relationship with has had such a different background,
Yeah.
and usually different part of the world completely, just a whole different life, and yet still we can connect over hack forms, and beyond that, and just then talk about politics or interests or anything of that sort. And yeah, it's been a fun ride, and it just continues to be an interesting experience, which is why I continue to come back to the site.
Well, I talked to somebody about this last night actually, and I said, on my rise up on HF from, getting towards the top, I, you meet a lot of smart people, a lot of dangerous people, and a lot of weird people, and they're all
Mm-hmm.
they're all unforgettable, man.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah,
it's
there's a lot of characters, and that's the thing is a lot of those people stand out, which is why too the community, which is great, I think is close enough. It's if it was a behemoth like Reddit, there's usually not too many people that know consistently, but because we're a little bit smaller, you get to kind of understand people, and you can categorize them to a certain
yeah, you
extent
see the names.
because you see their name more often and their avatar, which is great. I think. I mean, that's those are things I think hopefully just stay forever as far as like avatar, user bar. 'Cause, I mean, if we got rid of those, that's just it takes away so much personalization.
Yeah, yeah. I like HF is fun because you can make what you want out of it.
Yeah,
It can be what you want. No one's restricting you to anything. If you want to come on here and be a troll, you're probably gonna get banned. Some of them don't get banned.
uh huh,
If you want to come on here and be a staff member or a fucking whatever, a mentor, you can work towards that and be that. It's HF gives you an opportunity to express yourself in a way that no other form truly does.
that's right, that's right.
And that's why it's so good because you build your personality like you want it to be. All
I
right.
mean, I think you put it greatly.
Yeah. Then we're just one more thing for the overall site news. Game XP. There's now Game XP on your profile. I don't really know what this shit means. Erotic did it probably, but you can see your Game XP on your profile. I don't really have anything to say about this. I don't play the game. I don't think you really have much to say about it either, do you?
We're just constantly evolving. I have no idea what it is, but it just it seems like all the time these new things pop up, and it's like, okay, well, I guess here we go. Here's another. But that's fine. I mean, just to it keeps the site fresh.
Yeah.
Um, I prefer the addition of features, more than the removal. So, like some of those things, like hopefully we can get those thread ratings back at some point. It's just a nice feature to have, or custom popularity ratings, especially now since they become so unimportant. They don't need to be canned anymore. Um, but yeah, I mean, just all the stuff, always seeing the innovation. It's nice to see that the site is not stagnant.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, we're gonna move on into group news. I'm gonna skim. I'm gonna just what I'm gonna do for everybody is I'm gonna read through everything, and then we're gonna hit on some topics after I read through everything. So,
Mm.
Cybergents is for sale, 2.75k. Divine selling one of his groups, 3.25k. Influence is for sale for, and I don't know. I think it's an undisclosed amount. And then there is Polymath for sale for 3K. And leadership changes. You have Mimikyu as leader of Sociopaths, and Trappy has been banned and pending closure, and his group that he recently bought has been closed. For recruitments, you have Sociopaths, Wolfpack, All the Samaritans recruitments, Entropy, Famous, Generous, I don't know what the fuck that means,
Mm-hmm.
Brick Squad, and Genesis, and most importantly, you have the Dawn recruitment, SRPP.
That's right.
Shout out to Dawn, man. Didn't talk about him last week. Great group. I'm in the group personally. I enjoy it a lot. If you guys want to join a quality group, if you're a quality member and feel like you can contribute in an SRPP sort of environment and like a family environment, put your recruitment in and get in there, man.
It's the place to be.
It is, man. It's a good fucking group. You guys do a
If
lot.
you like to read and write, it's a place to be. And I think it's not one of those things where it's excessive, where people are verbose. But it's great to have a community where everyone has an interest in technology in the group, but beyond that, they also have an interest in the world around them, philosophy, politics. These are all things that we cover, and respectfully, which is nice too. Which is there's not any flaming. It's really just about trying to understand the other person's position, going back and forth. I mean, there's no name calling, so these are things that you see in the general SRPP subform, and sometimes too. We've had one member in particular. He made a very lengthy post in SRPP, and because of its length, probably people didn't have the attention span to actually respond to it. So he posted it in Dawn. Ended up getting about, I think, 3 or 4 times as many responses as he got originally. Because I mean, that's the thing is we actually too as a community we'll humor you, and if you post something, we're gonna read it. We're not gonna just skip over and say, nah, I'm not gonna do that one. I just want to go to this this simple thread where I can just kind of get in an echo chamber, repeat the same thing over and over again that everyone else says. And there's a lot of I've seen a lot of cliche arguments or arguments just taken from people like Ben Shapiro, which I think those are great when the arguments come from them, but when they're just regurgitated by another member, it doesn't really add any insight. But I think one thing that's great is that everyone in Dawn really actually tries to give their opinion on things, how they see the world from their perspective, and not pull out any old memes like identify as like an attack helicopter or something. It's like just that lame stuff. It's all cool, creative stuff. That's why it's only been getting better and better every day.
I agree. It's definitely a good group, man. I enjoy it a lot. I like that everyone doesn't necessarily have the same opinion, and when we discuss various opinions, it doesn't turn into an argument, which is very common on HF.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy it. I enjoyed the group. I was saying this the other day. I've been in almost every group on HF since I joined 2013 that hasn't had to do with computer programming. I would say almost like every group that hasn't had to do with computer programming. And Dawn is in my top 5 for sure, definitely.
Oh, thank you.
Dawn, actually, when I get up and check HF, I'll check the subform actively to read the threads, and I might not be able to comment on every thread, and I don't feel comfortable commenting on every thread because I don't have that big of a knowledge about it. But I will scroll through the thread, and I will read it, and I'll always learn something, which is what I enjoy. Mm-hmm. You truly learn something when you're within Dawn.
Yeah, everybody's welcome to. It's one of those things I prefer to keep it from becoming an echo chamber. At one point, we did have a communist in our group, but he left because I think he was angry at some of the views held on the other side. But that's not the point. I mean, the thing is, I still welcome, as long as you're a nice person, as long as you're just not going to be a dick. You can be a communist and you can be in the group, and we can go back and forth. It's just about that some people just turn to name calling and just trying to just trash other people, which is not what we're about. It's more of a family setting. Everyone's a peer. It's just as if you're meeting in person and you're talking to that person at a round table. You're not gonna start flaming them because that'd just be inappropriate.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I agree completely. Don't. If you want a quality group on HF, if it's your first group on HF and you're involved and these sort of things, it's a great group for your first group on HF also because it really gets you adjusted to how others can be.
For sure.
Yeah. And it shows you that not on everybody on HF is a dickhead, and
That's right.
that people can talk.
And you actually find too that was really cool, I think, is that so we have a couple help desks now, the coding and pen testing section, and there might be more. We'll see. Um, but some of these people just from that alone have messaged me to ask to join the group because of the coding help desk. They say, oh, this is a group of peers I could relate with. But one thing that's really cool is that so those people that I send them back, I'm like, here's the application, you need to fill it out. But we really prefer that you have knowledge of politics or philosophy, or are willing to engage in discussions regarding that. The help desks are more of a side thing, just to help the community overall, just to help it, maintain some health. But it's cool that we can have these people that on one end are willing to spout their political ideals, and the other end provide completely useful information in a coding help desk to help somebody, figure out their issue.
Yeah, it's a great group. You can put that application in, or you can do what I do, and you can just send a PM and get in.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you tried to get in just with
I
a
did, yeah.
application, and I said you got to send that application. I was not
I,
getting in just with a quick, easy, one press of a button.
I sent Knight a PM. I was like, "Yo, you're the owner of Dawn, right?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Let me get in." And he was like, "That application looks a little short." And I was like, "Fuck. Well, fine. Send me
Yeah,
the application." And then I filled my application out honestly, and I got
you
in.
did a good job too.
I got in unanimously. You know.
Yeah, you did a good job, and that's one thing that we appreciate is effort. I mean, some people just it can be things. Formatting is big. What you write is big. I mean, the thing is, if you just lazily respond, those are usually the people that we go over and just say, no, we'll pass on them, because if they can't, these questions are meant to kind of allow you to speak your mind and show what's going on inside your head to some extent.
Yeah.
And when people just put one word responses, we're just like, forget it, just pass right over it. So it's all about just putting in the effort, and it'll pay back for itself when you're in the group.
Yeah. 100%. Um, I Dawn's like I don't know. Dawn's a good group, man. Fucking apply to Dawn.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'll
Yes.
go into more
Glad it on.
I'll go into more detail here in like 3 seconds.
All right.
So now we're gonna start the interview process, which is what we do every week with our guests. So first of all, how did you find HF?
I found HF through an ambition to acquire a gamer tag, a short gamer tag. That was at the time I was really big into COD. I'm still kind of big into COD, but the time I had this idea, I said, wait a second, what if I have a really short name? I was like, that way there's less of a name above my head, less red text above my head, so I could get an advantage that way. So when I first found the forum, it was funny. I thought it was just going to be a group of individuals just eager, just everyone's a hacker, and everyone is just waiting for an assignment. So like I think I came on there and said something, I was like, could someone help me get a short gamer tag? And like, as if 50 people are gonna be like, please let me be your hacker. I'll do it for free. Like let me just take care of this. And then I think I kind of after a while got the idea that it's they were for sale, which I actually ended up buying some at some point. But I think after I saw, I was like, oh, it's not just like a quick, simple process. I left for a while, and then I came back in 2015, just because I was like, well, I still have this account here. Let's see what's going on. Still, I started again just checking the Xbox gamertag section daily just to see the conversations going on. There was a lively section, which I'm not sure if it is anymore. I haven't checked in a while. But when Xbox was really big, I was there watching that stuff. And then one day, I think just kind of looking around, I had some conversations some decent conversations. I'd done pretty well as a regular member. Like I didn't pick up any negs as a regular member, which is pretty rare at that point, because if you say something that someone disagrees with, they can just neg you without consequence.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I applied for LEAT. Like, I think you just pay for that,
Yeah, you
actually.
just pay
And so
for
I had
it,
that. Yeah, and then what came down to was just during a semester of school, I said, this is gonna be a really slow, boring semester. I'm gonna have to figure out something to do. So I was like, let me see if I was like, there's a lot of options, but let me just see if maybe I can apply for like this Uber spot, and like, so like if this guy accepts me, like then I'll feel like I'm kind of part of the community. So let me see if like he'll accept my application. So I sent it in. I think it was just a couple days later I got the notification I was accepted for Uber. So I paid for that, got that, and then not much later than that, as soon as I got that, I was well, all right, I'm part of the community. Kind of started engaging. First in the lounge, I was posting some kind of more SRPP threads, and people were saying, "Hey, buddy, you're gonna have a better time if you post this in SRPP." So I moved over there, kind of became really active there. I think at some point bought Epic, and just started making, which is great. You just start making friends just by communicating with people, and then you get invited to groups, and the whole thing. As long as you participate, the thing is, if you're a lurker, you'll never have that opportunity because nobody knows who you are. But if you put your opinion out there, people can start to get an idea for you, and people will take a liking for you.
Yeah, 100%. I remember, like I said, HF is what you make out of it.
That's right.
And I've spent $0 on HF.
Really?
6 years, $0.
Wow.
Only thing on my payments.php history is I bought somebody LEAT that I got paid for to buy.
Uh-huh.
And
I think I've given a couple gifts to people. I know I paid for my upgrades. But I haven't been throwing money at the site like crazy. I try not to just be like, just here's an allowance, here's money for no particular reason. I really just, here you go, buddy.
Yeah.
I try to like have some meaning. So like, I an Ethereum award to somebody, just because they were pretty cool with me. And I think I gave a gift to another person because they were a cool person. So, and that's fun. Like that's way, when you actually put your money towards something, like actually, like, you can see how it like has an effect versus just writing Omni a check and just saying, here you go, buddy. It's like, it's cool if it has some kind of, symbol behind it. It's like the awards. I think that's a great idea. I'm pretty sure he was the inventor of those too. Yeah. And I applaud him for that because that's been a great success.
Yeah, no. Awards was great, but yeah, man, I don't think I've spent $1 on. I've gave Omni private donations.
Oh, you have? Okay.
But I've never spent $1 on anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it's worth it sometimes. Sometimes it's, and of course too, if it's just if you have the money to spend on it.
Yeah,
the demographic is younger. It leans pretty young on HF, and so this is where people don't, where $20 is a lot to some people, or $10 even. So, some people don't have the money to do it, but other people do, and I appreciate. Like I think Invis, he throws like a pretty good amount of money at HF, and I appreciate that.
Great fucking
because
guy.
Some of the stuff. He'll help keep the lights on, and that's important.
Great fucking guy, man.
Yeah.
I love you, Invis. I love you, Matt, brother. Shout out to Matt, man. Best guy on the forum. So we already talked about, what is Dawn. So I'll skip over that. Let's talk about what do you talk about in Dawn? Give me some general ideas of like what do you talk about in Dawn?
It's it's eclectic discussion, just as eclectic as our members are. So most recently, the thread of discussion is about automation and how we're talking about how the threat of AI could potentially cause millions of people to become unemployed, or maybe that could lead to UBI, or universal basic income. Or, I think someone else posted a thread about, asking what freedom was. And I've got a thread in the works too about, actually it'll be about watching horrific content and if one should even do that, or if you should stay away from it because it could desensitize you to life.
Hmm.
So
Well, it's
that
entirely
one's
that.
that one's
Well,
coming up.
yeah. Well, it's entirely possible.
Yeah,
It's
I
entirely
mean,
possible.
it's entirely possible. So yeah, but it's really just, I mean, it'll be politics sometimes. I we haven't been having, which is nice, is there hasn't been any Trump rallies or
No.
whoever Bernie rallies or whoever else. It's just been just mostly philosophy to find out how do you decipher the world,
Yeah.
um, and same with politics. It's been, I guess we've been a little bit lacking in that, but I mean I'm assuming as 2020 comes around, we'll see a lot more of that. But what's fresh, what's really nice is that we stay away from most things that are covered, on Fox News and CNN. If you put that, like, one of those channels on just for a day, you're going to hear the same article or the same information over and over and over again, just by a different host.
Yeah.
And that stuff we usually just try to stay away from, because it's just boring mainstream stuff that's already just it's our horse that's been beat to death already, so we can't really add anything to it. So we try to come up with our own things, and yeah, some people use I guess enhancements to make ideas come to fruition. It's like some people have some ways they can kind of have some abstract thoughts, and I'm like,
Yeah,
hey,
like
good for
aliens.
you. Yeah, like I'm saying, like if they need mushrooms or something like that to help them come up with a thought, I'm open to it, because maybe it does allow them a portal into like a different perspective, and that's why I love to see those posts too. So it's just kind of like, post anything creative and interesting that can be discussed, as where sometimes just an SRPP. It's just like, here's my opinion, and that's it. And anyone else that disagrees is wrong. The end. And so I like the open-endedness of everything in Dawn.
Yeah. I like Dawn, man. It's it's open, man, because I personally, like, I believe in aliens and things like that. So I personally believe that there's aliens out there in the world somewhere, and that we haven't found them yet. I'm not like a they visit us stan or anything,
Uh-huh.
but I enjoy like talking about aliens. I don't know what your opinion on aliens are,
Do you
but
think
go ahead.
do you think those videos that we occasionally see that are shot in 144p, that'll show like a UFO? Do you believe any of those are legitimate, or do you think they're just kind of just military planes or something of that sort?
I
Because
think
I mean, I'm sure you've seen some of those before.
yeah, I think it's military or it's hysteria. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we've ever been visited by aliens, because I just think the likelihood of that being possible is extremely low compared to the likelihood of them existing. So I don't think
Hmm.
we've ever been visited by aliens.
Hmm.
But I totally believe in aliens.
Yeah, I think it's entirely possible that they exist
And
out in the universe. Just, I mean, beyond, if you're to look at, the whole universe as somewhat of a body, and maybe a solar system is just one singular cell, or and then a planet could be a cell within that cell. Um, so if we were to consider that, we're our own universe, our own world, but you can't discount that perhaps there is another world out there with sentient life. Um, they may be progressing very slowly. They may all be lack intelligence to create, um, or maybe they're just a society they could be humans too, to a certain extent. Maybe they're just 1,000 years behind us, or 1,000 years ahead of us. I mean, some of those things. Um, I think a smart civilization too. If we were to discover, cave dwelling society on another planet, we might not want to interfere with their development. We might want to study their development over time. So I mean, there's also that possibility where the technology is so advanced that they're watching us, but not interfering, because that would mess up the experiment.
yeah, what I think is interesting is especially like we talk about aliens like and societies developing like in the universe, but a thing that we recently found out was we're watching apes and monkeys enter the Stone Age and learn
Yeah.
how to use tools and develop, like that's in front of our eyes, and
And like
that's
the gorilla that can use like sign language.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. That shit gets me fucked up because I sit here and I think about shit like that, and it's like, holy fuck, like man, I talked about this on a thread, but I like to believe in aliens for the sake of my own peace, you know,
Uh-huh.
because like we all have these stress and all these problems. And if you believe in aliens and you sit here and think about how big the universe is, you realize how little problems like they don't matter because you're one in 7.7 million or billion people. Where the
That's
fuck,
right. Yeah.
you know? So it's and then there's the universe is infinite, and you're stressing about some girl that didn't want to go on a date with you. No, fuck that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm not about that shit. Like,
It's one of those things too. The world is so big, and I love how sites like HF, even in this humongous world with billions of people, everyone's still able to kind of form a name for themselves, and just become. If you look at yourself on a global scale, you're just a number. But
yeah,
at HF, you're actually like a name, an avatar, a person, which is because yeah, it's incomprehensible to you. You see stadiums full of 100,000 people, and you could never meet all of them.
yeah,
But then to think about, okay, what if you had a stadium for 7.4 billion people? Then you could definitely never meet all of them. So it's cool when things like that just we're in a smaller community. That's how you really connect.
yeah. And it's like, you think about it, and you think about everybody's lives, and I like watching people grow up on HF, man. Too. It's a big part of it.
You've grown up yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. It's crazy to think about. I've been on HF for 6 years since I was 13 years old,
Hmm.
and I
Just the right age too.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. From 2013, 2016, if you fucking talked to me the wrong way, I would try and flame the shit out of you because I thought that's how you
Hmm.
solved problems.
Hmm.
And now as I get older, and I have more real life experience and taking a break from HF helped me learn more. That's not how you solve things. You talk to people, you explain things to people, and you discuss various things, and that's how you settle your problems. You don't flame each other until one guy gets pissed off and leaves. You don't fucking, throw how someone looks up in their face. No, you talk to them.
That's
You don't
right.
you don't bully anybody. And it took me a long time to figure that out, man. It took me a long time to realize that people don't think I'm cool for lying about my real life and roasting people and things
Hmm.
like that. And it took me a long time to figure out that people are gonna like me for who I am and not these facades and lies that I put up.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I enjoy HF a lot more now because I get to be who I am in real life, not who not. Back, I remember back in the days, I used to say something which now that I look at it now is like really childish and really depressing. That I remember saying that when I went to school, sometimes I would have the Thorns personality come out. And then
Uh-huh.
I sat down and I realized I was like, man, that's why is there a difference between, the username Thorns and who I am on HF and Will? Because
Do you feel like you align with your profile now? Like
oh
you
yeah.
are Thorns,
Yeah, like I
or
am.
Thorns is you?
Yeah, yeah. Like it's the same. Before it was like two different people. It was like, at school I was a quiet kid that was there, had a little friends, didn't have a lot of friends, and on HF I was, Thorns, this popular member who liked to
Hmm.
flame people and think he was cool and things like that. And now it's
Hmm.
just like, now that as my real life has improved and I've gotten out there and made myself aware of my mistakes, so have and I've realized that, man, I don't have to be Thorns and then Will when I leave close the tab. I can be Will on HF and Will on in real life, man, and that's what
Sure.
people want me to be. And
Your
that,
genuine self.
yeah, and Invis and the Hackers Love taught me way better than that, on HF, and
Mm-hmm.
I lived up to what they taught me, and I realized that I have to contribute and things like that.
What'd you take away from your you took a 2 year break from HF?
Yeah, I took a 2 year break,
What'd you take
a
away from
year and
that?
a half.
Any lessons?
That I was childish, and that even though online it's just a username, there's somebody behind the screen. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm. It's all just we're all humans.
Yeah, and people have, even if they seem like the biggest asshole or the biggest dickhead, and they have thoughts, they have feelings, they care about people, they have a family, and that you have to see them as people. You don't just see them as usernames.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
that's what really opened my eyes.
yeah, you learn too that often, if someone's being problematic, it's not necessarily because of you, but because of maybe something that's going on in their life. Maybe they're going through a divorce or a breakup or something of that sort, and it's causing them to be a different person online. And it's not, and that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
You just happen to be in their crosshairs at some point,
yeah.
and so you learn to not take things too personally, which I think is important.
Well, more on a the personal thing outside of HF is that when I took my 2 year break, there was this beautiful, beautiful girl that went to my school, one of the most popular girls in my school, and she ended up committing suicide because she was bullied online.
Wow.
And I sat down and I remember going to her funeral and thinking about this, and it's like, fuck, what if I would have been responsible for this? And then I thought about all the members on HF that I've said like awful, awful things to over the years, and thought, man, like this could be any of them.
Yeah.
This could have been them because of what I said. And I realized that life is a lot more precious than what we think it is, and it's a lot bigger than hack forms.
It's a lot more consequential too than you
Yeah,
think. Because I think one thing was we're online, we're behind a screen, so someone can say, "Oh, I'm going to be a troll real quick here," say
yeah,
something nasty because I can't see the other person, so it doesn't count. But no, some of those things actually do. And yeah, and of course, yeah. I mean, sometimes maybe too, it's a hard truth for something, and there's just this heated disagreement, which it happens at times. But no, it's your actions are definitely connected, and so like in that case, that carried over from the online world into the real world, which is tragic. That just some, I guess, cyberbullying caused her to
yeah.
commit suicide.
And she was the most beautiful, beautiful girl. Like even my mom said that. And she was only a year older than me. Like I went to parties with her. I hung out before. We had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
mutual friends. I didn't know her that well, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just sad. It was sad to see, man. And I don't want to have to go to. I still like sometimes at night I think about some of the shit I said to people, and I fucking just cringe, man, because being popular and cool on a forum and known isn't worth someone's life, no matter
Sure.
how far you take it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would give up the name and reputation and status that I built up on HF and everything like that just to take back what I said to some of the members,
Mm-hmm.
because I regret it, man. I was
I mean, at this point now, and now the dust has settled. So at this point, um, I mean, I guess this is it's. I wouldn't say it's a redemption tour because you're hopefully going to stay longer than just a tour. You're just you've come back a changed man and learn from your past mistakes, which is something we should all hopefully do.
yeah, and I really, it makes me feel good because I posted my 6 year, just feedback thread, just a very simple thread, nothing. I didn't go into too detail about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the members, Happy, commented on it and talked about, how much he can tell that I've grown up, and I've known Happy since I was, about 14 on HF,
Mm-hmm.
and hearing that come from him was such a great thing the other night, man. He probably doesn't know how much it meant to me, but it meant a lot to me, man, because I realized, I'm not just doing this shit for in vain.
Sure.
People are noticing that I'm making a difference in my personality, and I've made a difference, and I've grown up, and I appreciate that.
Sure. Yeah, words carry weight often, and yeah, and that comes back to the whole reputation thing. I think that's why in some of those you get some of these messages, be like, wow, like that's actually like a touching message. Like that person
Yeah.
like said something really nice. Like, or in this case, if he was to at that point, it'd be nice if he could go and say that, just to say like on your profile, whatever his experience is, you've changed so much, you become such a greater person. I'm so happy for you, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's cool rather than just pulling down the list and saying high quality member or something like that.
Yeah. I'm in a dedicated relationship with this member.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's a good it's a good measure of character for me, man.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm on the right path. I still have a ways to go to condone, but
You'll
yeah,
get there.
yeah, I'm getting there, and I want to, like I said earlier, I want to give back to HF the values and things like that. Invis and
Mm.
THL taught to me when I was younger, and show people that they didn't teach me to be this dickhead member and things like that.
Mm. Well, they changed you. Sounds like they changed you for the better.
Yeah, for sure. They really
Yeah.
helped me out when I was down, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm always thankful for HF. I'll always be thankful for Infamous, and I always treat Infamous like it's my own because, um, I've been in it for 6 years, and even when it was sold, there was still the Infamous, lifestyle and the Infamous family, and we were still around helping each other out.
Mm.
I can tell you that I could probably list off the 17 members that were in the group in 2013 off the top of
Huh.
my head, man,
Yeah.
because that's how much we knew each other. Yeah, let's see, we had Code Vade, Nas, me, Bugga, Enviz, The Hackers Love, Shark, Soulmate. I'm trying to think who else. Soulmate, Tommy, Judge Dredd, Dan. See, that's 11.
Mm.
You get the gist.
I get the gist.
I
Yeah.
probably could. I probably could. I'm
Those
sure.
members too. A lot of them were before my time, but it's interesting to look back at some of the respected members that have come and gone, which is unfortunate too when they leave. Like, I mean, even just one that comes to mind, that he's basically left. He's not really that active anymore. It's just Hexacidal. He
Oh my
At
God,
one
bring
point, he
Hex
was
back.
very active. Yeah, and he was great. And but I guess some people, their life changes where I guess they just don't align with the forum anymore. They request closure, or they just become inactive. And it is unfortunate to see that, because the people too. I mean, you're assuming that those people that are already on a great path, they're just only getting greater as time goes by.
Yeah, Hexacidal, great fucking dude, great member. Miss you, Hex. You were a good dude. Hope you
He was
didn't
a
get
great dude.
corrupted by that girl that you invited to your group towards the end of it.
I remember her. She was
Julie.
nice.
She was yeah,
Julia.
she was
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who I really like, man? That I talk to every once in a while, and
Who's that?
he's in Dawn, and I don't really see him around too much, but he's a fucking member that I would give him the shirt off my back if he asked for it. I love Cosmos, man. He was an Infamous too.
Oh yeah.
Cosmos.
And he was a leader of Void, right? Right, wasn't he?
Leader of Void, leader of Logic, leader of Lapiduvidi, or whatever the fuck that Lapiduvine, whatever.
La
Yeah.
Belle Duvide.
Yeah, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Hexacidal went through like an emo phase and revamped his group or some shit. I don't know. Hexacidal was like 25 years old, going through an emo phase.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kicked everybody out.
Yeah, and I think the last phase we got for that was the Black Lodge, and then
Yeah,
it
that wasn't.
and then and he was done. He was done at that point. I mean,
He
he'd
checked
gone to
out
a
before. He
group
checked
that
out
he was
before.
doing buy-ins,
Yeah.
and then he sold the group to Divine. I can't remember the name of the group though. What it became afterwards.
I don't remember either. I think I was gone, but Hex was a good member, and everybody knows. I mean, if you were in Void and everything, you know Hex checked out before he made the
Hmm.
Black Lodge.
Mm.
Like he wanted the ideals to still be there, but it wasn't the same thing. And
It
that
was.
that's what I like to see out of these groups nowadays, man. Like, or I don't like to see is they come back and they rebrand and they get rid of the original ideals that made them great. That's why Dawn and Infamous are such great groups because they've been around so long and they're the same. They're the same they were. I mean, obviously Dawn's no longer a gaming group, but they're the same as they were 2 years ago, 6 years
Yeah.
ago. You know?
Yep. Longest standing group,
Yeah.
at least as far as as far as just continuity goes.
Yeah.
But I think as far as is when Inception, I'm pretty sure, it's Infamous, right? As far as at first created is in thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good for him. I think that's good. We all kind of have our own claim to fame in a sense. I love seeing that everyone in their own way says, this is the longest group in this particular case, or I mean, anyone could say longest coding group around or whatever like that. So,
Yeah.
but as far as lifespan though, we were second to Red Lions until they were deleted. So at this point now, that's what we are, the longest standing continuous group on the forum, and it's an honor. So
Infamous is still the oldest. That's all I'm gonna say.
it's the oldest. Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
But
a lot of these groups now feel like they have to have like a fucking like sectors and things like that, man. Like just stick. Sometimes you just gotta stick to your subform. And Infamous is a legacy group, you know.
yeah.
A lot. Dawn's a good group. They stick to their subform. Riders are a good group, man. It's like everyone, a lot, not everyone, but a lot of people want to be an Infamous because you only see good names in the group, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be associated with the names. And something I make abundantly clear to every member that's added to Infamous. And I guess I'll leak this on the podcast. I'll leak it on my 6-year thread. But as I become leader of Infamous in the next week or so, I make aware to the members that you have to realize that when you wear the user bar, you represent something larger than just yourself now. You represent a name, a group, and everybody else who wears the user bar. So don't be selfish and make yourself look like an ass and in turn make us look like an ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations on your leadership promotion as well.
Thank you, brother.
One thing, be interesting. I guess there's such a variety of colors now, but I feel like one thing that the Red Lions had to deal with was, did people actually want to be in the group because of them or because of the font? And so maybe even with your group, you've got the GIF user bar and the orange name. So that's something where you'll have to be watching out and make sure no one just is trying to get in for that.
I'll fucking kick him.
How does that work as far as the I noticed there are two different Infamous user bars. What is that about?
One's a crew and then one's the HF group.
Oh, okay. That's I had no idea. I was like, is that like a leader or something like that? But so they're just a crew and a group are both named Infamous.
Yeah, correct. We have the Infamous crew and then we have the Infamous group.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of these groups too. I think they fail to form an identity, and so as someone, I used to always be watching the group names, and I remember all the group names. Like by heart, I would be like, oh yeah, there's this. So there's like the Order, there's Echo, there's whatever else. There's I think Axiom. So many groups that, but then
Yeah.
now today we see these just groups that come and they go so quickly, because I think there's like a investment to some people, but then also some people just don't have the patience. They get the group, they think it's gonna be great, they become owner, they're like, we're gonna do this, and it doesn't work out according to plan right away, so and that's it. It's one of those things. With Dawn, there's been some low points, really low points, where activity's been completely just is gone, and it's just been like the group has been almost officially declared dead. But we've made a comeback, and we're doing great now. But yeah, it's one of those things. There are ups and downs in a group, and you have to. The people that ride through the ups and the downs, those are the ones you keep by your side. And so that's like all the leaders that we have now. That for Don, these are people that have they're ride or die, which is great.
Yeah, what Invis instilled into me is you have to take chances on members in groups sometimes, man.
Yeah.
You can't just have members that are just the most popular, the most known, the most reputation on HF. You have to have you have to take chances on people. You took a chance on me, and took a chance on Cameron, took a chance on us, and look where we are now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, look.
Oh yeah.
We've grown so much.
I gotta make a quick shout out then to Nine Tails and Infamy, because Nine Tails originally took a chance on me with Infamy and Water Aura. They all decided that I'd be a good fit for a leader, but then as things progressed, for Infamy to trust me enough to give me the group and not just have me, he knew I wouldn't just immediately take the group and then just flip it, sell it. I appreciate him so much for that. And that's all the people, the original people of Dawn are just fantastic people. I think both on the forum and IRL.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. A lot of people a lot of these group owners and group leaders don't realize that you have to take a chance on members sometimes,
Yep.
All right, well, I think that's a lot that we want to talk about. We talked for about an hour and 5 minutes, something about there. Anything you want to close on? Any closing topics you want to talk about?
Man, it's a good podcast. I think we did a good job. I've been had my notifications blown up. Looks like we're having some type of discussion.
It's still live.
About something. So
yeah,
So I mean, so things.
Any shout outs?
Yeah, shout outs. I'd say shout out to of course Infamy, Nine Tails, Mr. Cat, Dermensch, Mentoles. Am I forgetting anybody of the leaders? I hope not. No. I don't think so. Yeah, and so and actually just shout out to all the members of Dawn. I think we're all fantastic people. And shout out to you, man, for doing this podcast.
Thank
you. I think this is great, and I hope it helps bring the community closer together.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of sort of understand people better instead of just looking at someone and making a first impression and your first, judging a book by its cover. This is a way to really get into depth and to see that really just really personify people, and like you've done with Serotic, like you've done with Invis now, and hopefully like you've done with me.
Yeah, for sure. What I really love about recording this podcast is it gives the new members and the members that want to be, want to establish themselves on hack forums. It puts a voice to their, to their usernames and personality, and so that's why I love getting members on here that are active in the community and have been around for a while, so everyone can put a voice to them and understand what they're here for and things like that.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. So just some closing thoughts. I'd like to thank everybody for the great support that we've got on our recent podcast. You guys have blown it out of the water, getting about 100 views on each one. I greatly appreciate that a lot. I'm sorry about there not being a podcast last week. I was out of town, and unfortunately Nas couldn't join us for this week's podcast due to my scheduling. It's not him. It was my scheduling. So he'll be back next week. We're working on getting Souls in here. I don't even know what Souls is doing, but yeah. For sure, let us know if any of you guys want to see a certain person on the podcast. I'll get them on. Anybody you want, I get shit done. So you guys just let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed this edition, and thank you so much.